The Galactic Council chamber buzzed with quiet chatter as representatives from hundreds of alien civilizations gathered. Strange shapes and colors filled the room. Some were tall and crystalline, others small and slug-like. Many floated without legs. Yet all eyes focused on the large holographic screen at the center. Haben, a council technician from a small human-friendly colony, stepped forward. She was not tall, her hair tied back in a simple braid, her eyes sharp and clear. She had a calm, steady voice, but the words she spoke would shake the galaxy. Today, we will review the Deathworld rating for planet 4728, also known as Earth. The chamber erupted in soft laughter. Many representatives whispered to each other. They had read the preliminary report. They had seen humans from afar. Weak, fragile, unpredictable. A species that lived on a watery, temperate world, unable to survive truly harsh conditions. Many of them had joked that even a light meteor shower would wipe humans out. Now they leaned back, certain this would be a short and humorous presentation. Haben activated the holographic display. The planet appeared, a blue-green sphere, small in size compared to many council-approved worlds. The system ran the analysis automatically. The rating appeared in layers: environmental hostility, biological resilience, adaptability, technological progress, and overall survivability. A few council members glanced at the numbers and nodded. This would be quick. But as the final score appeared, silence fell. Earth's rating shocked everyone. It was higher than any planet they had ever seen. The Deathworld rating was off the charts. Environmental hostility was extreme. Biological threats were constant. Natural disasters frequent and severe. Climate swings unpredictable. Yet humans thrived in all conditions. Not only did they survive, they adapted, evolved, and conquered each challenge. Disease, radiation, extreme temperatures, natural predators, hostile terrain all were part of the human experience, and humans were stronger because of them. The chamber went still. Some council members exchanged uneasy glances. A few squirmed in their seats. Murmurs rose and fell like waves. No one spoke at first. The laughter that had begun the presentation disappeared entirely. A tall winged diplomat cleared his throat. This cannot be right. Surely, the sensors are malfunctioning. Haben shook her head. The data is accurate. All readings confirm it. Humans are adapted to survive extreme environments. They are unpredictable. Their strength, resilience, and ingenuity are unparalleled. Another representative, a crystalline entity that shimmered in changing colors, spoke. You are saying they can survive conditions that would destroy most species? Yes, Haben replied, her voice firm. They are remarkable in ways the Council has never accounted for. The chamber fell silent again. Some members began quietly arguing among themselves, their voices low but urgent. The implications were clear. If humans could survive almost anything, then they could also fight almost anything. And worse, they could grow stronger in conditions that would cripple others. Fear began to rise. The Galactic Council had underestimated humanity. In the midst of the chaos, G1, a human ambassador, sat quietly. He had been invited to observe the Council's process, not to participate yet. His dark eyes swept over the panicked aliens. He did not smile, but a sense of calm determination filled him. Humans had been underestimated for too long. This would be their moment. He noted the tension in the room, the whispers of fear, and he realized that the galaxy had finally begun to pay attention. The discussion became heated. Some members demanded that Earth be contained, controlled, or even destroyed. They feared what humans could become if left unchecked. Others argued for observation and diplomacy. We cannot make hasty decisions, one representative said. They may be strong, but there is no evidence they will attack us. Haben continued, presenting detailed data. Humans had survived frozen tundras, sweltering deserts, massive earthquakes, and toxic environments. They had developed clever ways to use the environment to their advantage. They built shelters, weapons, transportation, and tools from almost nothing. Their social bonds and teamwork amplified their survival. In every category, humans scored higher than any species the Council had encountered. The more the aliens learned, the more they panicked. The tall, winged diplomat leaned over to another member, whispering urgently, "If they are this adaptable, this resilient, then every precaution we have taken against dangerous species is useless. We cannot predict them." The other nodded grimly. "It is as if they have evolved to survive everything, and every time they survive, they grow stronger. We cannot contain such a species." G1 remained quiet, observing the growing chaos. He thought of Earth, of the deserts, mountains, oceans, and cities filled with people who never stopped striving. Humans had faced pandemics, wars, natural disasters, and poverty. Yet they continued to survive. They continued to improve. And now, as the galaxy realized their strength, each one understood that the humans' moment had come. Some alien representatives tried to regain control. "Perhaps we should recalibrate the rating. There must be a mistake. Surely no species could adapt to every hostile condition. Surely they have weaknesses we have not seen." Haben shook her head again. "All sensors and data sources confirm the results. Humans have no single weakness that would prevent them from surviving in extreme environments. They adapt, innovate, and overcome every threat." Panic began to spread. A council member, a small, furry creature with 6 eyes, began pacing. "If this is true, then they cannot be controlled. They cannot be contained. If we provoke them, they could destroy us all." The crystalline entity shimmered more brightly, almost violently. "Then perhaps we should strike first, before they become too dangerous." Others gasped. Violence, the very thing the Council prided itself on preventing, was being considered because of humans. Meanwhile, Giwan listened and took mental notes. He could see the fear in the eyes of species that had once looked down on humans. Their confidence was shattered. They had assumed Earthlings were weak, but now they realized how wrong they were. Giwan understood that the Council's panic was only the beginning. Soon, humans would no longer be merely observers in the galaxy. They would become active participants, shaping the future in ways no one had predicted. Haben finished her presentation. The screen went dark, leaving only the faces of the stunned council members. No one spoke for several long minutes. Then, one by one, voices rose with questions, accusations, and suggestions. Every word reflected fear. Every motion reflected uncertainty. The Council had never faced a species like humanity in that moment. Earth itself seemed to gain importance beyond its small blue-green surface. Humans were no longer just another species. They were a force of nature, unpredictable, unstoppable, and capable of surviving anything. The Council's laughter, which had filled the chamber at the beginning, was gone entirely. It was replaced by a growing, heavy panic. Outside the chamber, in the quiet halls, Gi-1 walked calmly. He passed alien aides and council staff, their faces pale with worry. He did not need to speak. The human's reputation was already spreading faster than any words could convey. Hints of fear traveled from member to member. The galaxy was beginning to realize a simple truth. Humanity could not be ignored, back on Earth. Far from the council chambers, people went about their daily lives, unaware that their survival skills, ingenuity, and resilience had just shaken the galaxy to its core. Farmers worked in hot sun, miners dug deep underground, engineers repaired machines, and children played in the streets. Every day, humans proved they could survive. And now, without even knowing it, they were about to become a central force in galactic history. The Council would meet again. Debates would rage. Decisions about Earth would be made, and the galaxy's approach to humans would change forever. But for now, the simple truth remained. Humans were strong, they were clever, and they were unstoppable. And in the quiet, observing chamber, Giwan allowed himself the smallest, almost imperceptible smile. The galaxy had finally begun to understand the species they had laughed at for so long. The news from the Galactic Council spread quickly across the galaxy. Aliens whispered about Earth's Deathworld rating, sharing images, data, and assessments. But on Earth, humans were largely unaware. Life continued as it always had. Cities thrummed with activity, Deserts stretched endlessly, and oceans roared under the sun. Yet in secret, some humans already sensed the galaxy's attention and began preparing Minseok. A seasoned strategist from Seoul had been tracking unusual signals in orbit. Strange surveillance probes, small but sophisticated, circled the planet, scanning, observing, and transmitting. Minseok studied them with a small team of engineers and tacticians. They were a diverse group, young and old, men and women, all skilled in survival and problem-solving. Each member understood the stakes. The galaxy had noticed humanity, and it was only a matter of time before others tried to interfere. "We can't assume they are friendly," Minseok said, his voice calm but firm. His dark eyes scanned the room filled with maps, holograms, and charts. "Every probe, every signal they are learning from us. We need to understand what we have and what they don't expect." Beside him, Hanel, a talented engineer, adjusted a device that could detect alien energy signatures. "We are prepared," she said simply. "They will see what humans can do. If they come, we will be ready." The team spent hours analyzing, building, and planning. Their approach was practical. Unlike the Council, humans did not panic. They prepared. Every mountain, desert, and frozen tundra was an opportunity to test survival skills. Every storm or flood taught resilience. Every challenge was training. Minseok often reminded his team, "We do not fear the unknown. We adapt to it." Far away, in the snowy mountains of Gangwon, Taewoo led a survival exercise. His group of trainees moved through deep snow, carrying minimal equipment. The cold was brutal. Frost bit at their fingers and noses, and the wind howled like a wild creature. Yet, they pressed on. They built shelters from snow and ice, melted snow for water, and hunted animals to feed themselves. Every skill was vital. Taewoo smiled as he watched his team succeed. "We learn by surviving. The galaxy may be watching, but we do not wait for permission to survive." In the deserts of Gobi, Seojin led another team through scorching heat. The sun scorched their backs, sandstorms whipped their faces, and water was scarce. Yet, the humans persevered, finding underground springs, crafting shade, and making solar traps to collect water. Seojin taught them to move quietly, to conserve energy, and to adapt to unpredictable conditions. Each day, each challenge strengthened the humans' abilities. Meanwhile, in the city's intelligence units monitored signals from the Galactic Council. Rena, a young analyst, discovered that several alien species were attempting to infiltrate human networks. Using rudimentary cloaking, they tried to study Earth's technology, human responses, and communication patterns. Rena did not panic. She set up countermeasures, diverted signals, and fed false data to confuse the aliens. Her work, unseen by most humans, was critical. She laughed quietly as she typed. "They think they understand us. They are learning, but we are teaching them what we want them to see." Even ordinary humans contributed. Farmers in Jeju found ways to grow crops in volcanic soil. Fishermen in Busan learned to navigate unpredictable storms. Miners in Taebaek devised new methods to extract minerals safely. Every ordinary action was a lesson in survival and adaptation. Humans turned every challenge into knowledge, and every knowledge into power. At night, Minseok gathered his team in a small, dimly lit room. The walls were covered with maps, charts, and projected holograms of alien fleets. "They see us as weak," he said quietly. "They assume we are fragile, unprepared, and predictable. But they are wrong. We are ready for what comes next. Every environment we have survived makes us stronger. Every failure has taught us more than any alien could imagine." The team nodded, their determination unwavering. They knew that humans were not just surviving. They were evolving, learning to fight, adapt, and endure in ways the galaxy had never expected. Across the oceans, in the depths of the Mariana Trench, another group of humans tested their skills in extreme underwater survival. Hanul coordinated this operation. Humans lived in pressure-resistant habitats, exploring deep-sea thermal vents, harvesting minerals, and testing endurance in complete darkness. They adapted tools for survival, creating vehicles and devices that could withstand immense pressure. They learned to work together, communicating silently and efficiently. Each human understood that these skills could be applied anywhere, on any planet, against any threat. Meanwhile, the Galactic Council debated. They had sent probes and scouts to study humans, but each observation only increased their fear. Alien scientists and strategists found humans thriving in conditions designed to kill or severely weaken other species. Haben continued to report accurate data, leaving no room for doubt. The council became divided. Some wanted to contain humans, others wanted to prepare for possible conflict, and a few believed diplomacy could still work. But fear, the most dangerous force in the galaxy, had taken hold. On Earth, G1 prepared a message to the council, one that he had not yet sent. He was calm, measured, and patient. He understood the aliens' panic, but he also knew humans did not need to strike first. "We will not attack unless provoked," he said. "But if they try to harm us, they will see what it means to underestimate humanity." Humans continued their secret preparations. Weapons were tested, strategies developed, and teams trained in extreme conditions. They learned to combine technology with environment. They discovered how to use storms, earthquakes, and volcanic eruptions to their advantage. They studied alien ships from a distance, analyzing patterns and weaknesses. Every step was deliberate. Every action was a lesson in survival and combat. In the forests of Korea, Minseok led another exercise. His team moved silently through thick trees, practicing ambush tactics, observation, and communication. They built hidden shelters, learned to navigate without maps, and practiced setting traps. Each human understood that the smallest skill could make a difference in survival. Minseok reminded them constantly, a strong mind and a prepared body will overcome any threat. Never forget that. At the same time, humans in cities practiced urban survival. Rena and her colleagues set up networks to detect and intercept alien surveillance. Engineers tested drones, sensors, and defensive systems. Ordinary citizens unknowingly participated in a larger effort, contributing to society's resilience by adapting to changing weather, emergencies, and technological challenges. Hanuel looked over the city skyline one evening. The sun was setting, painting the buildings in gold. She thought about the galaxy watching. "They do not understand us," she said softly. "We do not see obstacles as limits. We see them as opportunities. Every challenge makes us stronger. Every difficulty teaches us something new. This is what they cannot predict." In the deserts, Eseojin's team returned from a 2-week survival exercise. Exhausted but triumphant, they had learned to travel long distances without supplies, find water, and build shelters in the harshest conditions. Seojin smiled at his team. "You survived what would have killed others. That is our power. That is humanity. Even in the skies, humans adapted. Pilots trained in extreme maneuvers, flying in storms and through turbulence. They learned to navigate using natural signs when instruments failed. They practiced rescue missions and combat drills. Every skill added to humanity's growing reputation. Even if the council did not yet fully realize it, at night, Ji-won and Minseok met in a secure facility. Holographic maps showed Earth, surrounding planets, and possible alien approaches. "They are afraid," Ji-won said. "The council does not understand us. They think fear will make us passive. They are wrong." Minseok nodded. "Fear makes them hesitate. Adaptation makes us strong. We can survive anything they throw at us. And when the time comes, we will not only survive, we will fight back, smarter and stronger than they expect." As the weeks passed, humans continued to test themselves. Teams went into volcanoes, braved radiation zones, and explored the deepest oceans. Every exercise, every failure, every success built skills, resilience, and confidence. Humans learned to survive on every level, physically, mentally, and socially. They learned to improvise, communicate, and overcome. The galaxy watched, unaware of just how much humans were preparing for the future. The council became increasingly divided. Some argued that humans should be ignored, hoping their small planet would not matter. Others argued that humans must be controlled, their potential too dangerous to risk. Yet, the more they debated, the more humans prepared. Using every challenge to improve, Mincio gathered his team one last time before a new operation. "Remember," he said, "the galaxy may fear us, the council may doubt us, but we are humans. Every obstacle is a chance to learn, every danger an opportunity. We do not wait for others to decide our fate. We make our own." Hanel smiled. "They see us as fragile, as weak. But we are not. We survive. We adapt. We thrive. And when the galaxy finally realizes what humans can do, it will be too late for them to stop us." From the deserts to the mountains, from oceans to cities, humans trained, adapted, and survived. Every small action contributed to a larger purpose. Humanity was learning, growing, and preparing. The Deathworld rating had been read, and the galaxy had panicked. But humans did not panic. They prepared. They strengthened. They waited, knowing that survival was their greatest weapon and that every challenge made them stronger. And so, as alien eyes watched from afar, humans continued to live, to work, and to adapt. They showed the galaxy that life on a hostile world was not weakness. It was power. Every storm, earthquake, and hardship was a lesson, and every lesson made humanity stronger than anyone could imagine. The council would soon learn that underestimating humans was a mistake, one they would come to regret. The Galactic Council had decided to send a delegation to Earth. They wanted to observe humans firsthand and see if the rumors of their Deathworld resilience were true. A small fleet approached quietly, cloaked to avoid alerting humans prematurely. In the largest city of Earth, Seoul, Gi-won received the signal. He studied it carefully. "They are coming," he said, calm but firm. "We will welcome them, but we will not show weakness." On the day of the arrival, the sky over the city shimmered with unfamiliar light. Alien ships, sleek and metallic, hovered above the skyline. They were unlike anything humans had seen. Shapes twisted and glowed, colors shifted as if alive. Yet humans did not panic. Civilians stopped to stare, some taking pictures, others running in fear. But most simply watched, curious. Dae-hyun, a military liaison, stood on the observation platform. He was tall, with broad shoulders, and a quiet presence that commanded respect. Beside him were teams of strategists, engineers, and scouts. "Remember," he said, "they underestimate us. They think humans are weak. That is our advantage. We show strength, but we do not provoke. Watch carefully, learn, and adapt." The alien delegation landed in a massive open area. G1 greeted them. He stepped forward, his posture calm, his face composed. He knew the eyes of the galaxy were watching. The aliens, tall and strange, moved with elegance and menace. Some had multiple arms, others glowed with inner light. A few seemed to float rather than walk. Yet, Gi-won did not flinch. "I am Gi-won," he said clearly. "Welcome to Earth. We hope your visit will be peaceful." The aliens' leader, a tall figure with shifting colors, observed quietly. There was no immediate reply, only a gesture that humans interpreted as acknowledgement. The council delegation had planned tests. They wanted to see if humans could survive extreme environments and handle challenges without help. They took the humans to controlled simulations, deserts with scorching heat, artificial storms, and underwater enclosures that simulated deep pressures. The aliens expected failures. They expected humans to struggle, but humans adapted. Minseok led the desert group. They moved with precision, finding shade, collecting water, and building shelters with minimal equipment. Each human acted calmly and decisively. Tae-woo led another group in simulated blizzards. The cold was brutal, the winds nearly knocked them over. Yet they navigated with skill, built shelters from available materials, survived with minimal supplies. The aliens watched in growing unease. Their systems recorded human responses, trying to find weaknesses, but each test ended with humans succeeding. Even when the aliens increased the intensity, humans adjusted. They learned quickly, communicated silently, and improvised. Each failure taught them a new method. Each challenge strengthened them. In the water simulation, Hanul's team performed impressively. The pressure was immense, the temperature near freezing, and visibility almost zero. They built small submersibles, using limited materials, and completed tasks that required precision, timing, and courage. Rena monitored the alien observers, noting their expressions. There was surprise, followed by disbelief, then fear. "They do not understand," she whispered. "Humans are not just surviving, they are learning faster than they expect." The aliens attempted to intimidate humans, showing strange weapons and devices. The humans observed without panic. They took notes, studied the technology, and sometimes used the environment against it. In one test, an alien created artificial storms to challenge the humans. They built simple shields from available materials and maneuvered through the storm, completing the objective. The aliens were shocked. "They are adaptable," muttered one of the council scientists. Back in Seoul, Gi-won coordinated all human teams. He understood the importance of appearances. "We must show strength without aggression," he told Dae-hyun. "They need to see our intelligence and resilience. Every action teaches them who we are. We are not weak, and we are not afraid." The delegation continued its tests for weeks. Humans excelled in every environment. Underground caves, volcanic regions, flooded areas, and even simulated radiation zones. Each challenge brought new solutions, new inventions, and new strategies. Humans communicated efficiently, used teamwork to overcome obstacles, and improvised when necessary. Outside the simulations, civilians participated unknowingly. They adapted to minor alien monitoring, helping engineers and scientists without realizing it. Every repair, every adjustment, and every solution contributed to humanity's overall resilience. The aliens recorded it all, unable to believe that humans could survive and thrive so efficiently. Tensions grew among the delegation. Some argued that humans were dangerous, far more capable than any species they had encountered. Others suggested negotiating, attempting to form alliances. But fear was spreading. The more they observed, the more unpredictable humans seemed. Every success contradicted the council's expectations. Min-seok met with Ji-won one evening. "They are learning about us," he said. "Every action we take is being recorded. We must continue to adapt, but we must also stay careful. If they act rashly, it could trigger conflict." Ji-won nodded. "Let them see our strength, but not our full potential. Every test we survive proves our resilience. We show them what they need to see, and we keep our advantages hidden until necessary." Anul's team returned from a volcanic simulation. They had navigated lava flows, toxic fumes, and unstable terrain. They were exhausted but triumphant. "We survived what they thought would destroy us," she said, smiling. "That is all that matters." Meanwhile, the alien observers grew increasingly cautious. Some attempted to provoke humans with challenges meant to exploit weaknesses. They designed traps and complex tasks to confuse the humans. Yet each time, humans adapted. They learned from every attempt, finding solutions that the aliens did not expect. Sometimes, they even used the aliens' own technology against the problem. Rena studied the aliens' reactions. "They're afraid," she said softly. "Every success we have, every adaptation, increases their fear. They underestimated us. They thought we would be weak, but we are not weak. We are stronger because of the challenges we face every day." The delegation finally held a meeting with Ji-won. Alien representatives spoke cautiously, asking questions about human society, technology, and environment. Ji-won answered truthfully, but strategically. He emphasized human adaptability, intelligence, and unity, without revealing plans or weaknesses. The council delegation grew more concerned with each answer. Humans were not only surviving, they were improving and learning faster than anyone could predict. Dae-hyun prepared reports for Ji-won. "They think humans are weak, predictable, and limited. Every observation they make shows them the opposite. Our advantage is our unpredictability. Our strength is in our adaptability. They cannot fully understand us yet. Weeks turned into months. The alien delegation remained on Earth, studying and observing. But every day, humans proved them wrong. Ordinary citizens showed courage, innovation, and resourcefulness. Scientists improvised equipment, engineers solved impossible problems, and civilians adapted to unexpected situations. Each small action contributed to humanity's growing reputation. One evening, Juan stood on a high balcony overlooking the city. The alien ships floated above, silent but ever-present. He reflected on what had happened. The delegation had come to test humanity, to understand if the Council's fears were justified. Humans had exceeded expectations at every turn. Their resilience, ingenuity, and teamwork were unmatched. And the aliens were beginning to realize that Earth was not a world to be underestimated. Minseok joined him. "They see our strength now," he said, "but they still do not understand our full potential. Every environment we master, every challenge we overcome makes us stronger. One day they will see that humans are not only survivors, they are a force." G1 nodded. "We will continue to show them our abilities, but we will not strike first. We survive, we adapt, and we wait. The galaxy has noticed us. Now it is time to prepare for what comes next." Across Earth, humans continued their daily lives, unaware of the eyes watching them from the sky. Farmers, workers, children, and teachers all participated in the human story, contributing in ways small and large. Every action, every decision, every adaptation strengthened humanity's reputation. The alien delegation began to report back to the Council. Their messages were cautious, filled with surprise and concern. Humans were not weak. Humans were unpredictable. Humans were strong. Some Council members panicked at these reports, fearing the implications. Others suggested negotiation, hoping to avoid conflict. But fear had already begun to take hold, and with it, hesitation and mistakes. On Earth, Yuan gathered all leaders and strategists. "The Council is uncertain," he said. "They do not understand us, and they fear what they cannot control. We continue to adapt, continue to improve, and continue to prepare. We will show strength without provoking unnecessary conflict, but we will not wait to be challenged. Every day is a test, and every test makes us stronger." The humans' advantage was simple but profound. Their life on a hostile planet had taught them resilience, teamwork, and ingenuity. They had adapted to environments that would have destroyed other species. They had learned to improvise, to survive, and to thrive. And now, as the alien delegation observed, the galaxy began to understand a simple truth. Humans were not weak, and they were not predictable, even as the delegation prepared to leave. The Council members were left with more questions than answers. Humans had survived every challenge, every test, every trap. They had used intelligence, creativity, and adaptability to overcome obstacles, and they had done so without aggression, without panic, and without losing focus. The Council had expected weakness. They had found power. G1 stood quietly as the alien ships departed. The tests were over, but the observation would continue. The Council had seen enough to understand that humans were capable of much more than they had imagined. Fear and respect were growing in equal measure. Humans had passed the first challenge, showing the galaxy they were a force to be reckoned with. Minseok smiled at G1. "They came to observe, to study, to understand. But they have learned only part of our story. We will continue to adapt, continue to survive, and continue to grow. One day, the Council will understand fully, but that day is not yet here." Guan nodded. "Yes, and when it comes, they will know that humans do not simply survive. We endure, we innovate, we conquer, and we do it together. From the mountains to the deserts, from the oceans to the cities, humanity continued to adapt, survive, and thrive. Every challenge, every danger, every obstacle made them stronger. The Council had come to test them. Humans had passed. The galaxy had begun to notice. And the story of Earth's resilience was only just beginning. The Galactic Council had returned to their chambers, but the memory of Earth and its humans stayed with them. Panic had spread quietly at first, then openly. Many representatives whispered that they had underestimated the human species, and that mistake could be costly. Some called for diplomacy, others for containment, and a few urged immediate action. The debate was heated, and fear filled the council halls like a heavy fog. Young Ho, a security chief for the council, stood at a podium, his multiple eyes reflecting the tension in the room. If we do not act carefully, he warned, humans could become uncontrollable. Every observation confirms what we feared. They survive in extreme environments, they adapt rapidly, and they work together in ways no species has ever demonstrated. We cannot predict them. We cannot contain them. We cannot ignore them. Haben nodded, her tone calm but serious. Every probe we have sent has returned the same data. Humans are more than resilient. They innovate in ways that no species has done before, and every test we observe shows they learn quickly. They adapt faster than our models can calculate. The council members argued endlessly. Some suggested isolating Earth completely, cutting off all communication and travel, but others pointed out that humans had already noticed the probes, the scouts, and the occasional reconnaissance ships. Isolation would be almost impossible. Another faction suggested negotiating and forming treaties, trying to convince humans to accept council authority peacefully. But fear had grown too strong. Too many representatives worried that humans could become too powerful if left unchecked. Back on Earth, humans continued their quiet preparations. The public was unaware of the council's panic. But the leaders, strategists, and engineers knew the galaxy was watching. Mensiok reviewed reports from teams stationed across deserts, mountains, forests, and oceans. Each team tested survival, combat, and adaptation skills in the harshest environments possible. Humans were not only surviving, they were learning, improving, and innovating. Hanuel adjusted a water collection device that her team had designed for a flooded urban environment. It was simple but effective. She smiled as she tested it. "They underestimate us," she said to her team. "They think humans are fragile, but every day we survive, every challenge we overcome proves otherwise. We are ready for what comes next." In the mountains, Taewoo led a training group through ice storms and avalanches. Every step required focus, every movement was calculated, and every decision mattered. The team built shelters, navigated treacherous paths, and hunted for food when supplies ran low. Taewoo reminded them constantly, do not fear the conditions. Adapt to them. Learn from them. Let every challenge make you stronger. In the deserts, Seo Jin's team faced scorching sun and shifting sands. Temperatures rose to unbearable levels, and water was scarce. Yet the team persevered, finding underground reservoirs, constructing shades and wind traps, and using sand to their advantage in camouflage. Seo Jin observed quietly, pleased with their progress. "Every obstacle is a lesson," he said. "Every lesson makes us stronger." That is what the council cannot understand. Meanwhile, Rena monitored alien signals from orbit. She detected unusual communications between council members. Fear was spreading among them like wildfire. They spoke of humans as if Earth were a dangerous weapon, a force of nature beyond their control. Rena smiled faintly. "They panic because they underestimated us. Every success we have, every adaptation we make, proves them wrong." The council's debate continued without end. Some suggested sending fleets to Earth preemptively. Others warned that any attack could provoke humanity, and humans were too unpredictable to risk conflict. Fear had begun to override logic. Young-ho argued that humans could exploit even the smallest mistake, using the planet's harsh environments to their advantage. "They are trained by their world," he said. "Every disaster, every storm, every earthquake has made them stronger. If we strike, they will survive and retaliate in ways we cannot imagine." Back on Earth, humans did not know the full extent of the Council's panic. They only knew that preparation was necessary. Teams across the globe tested survival skills, communication strategies, and tactical maneuvers. Every exercise strengthened them, every failure taught them. and every success built confidence in the forests of Korea. Minseok's team practiced ambush tactics, navigation, and resource management. They built shelters from trees, stones, and soil. They created traps and practiced silent movement. "We do not need to attack," Minseok reminded them. "We only need to be ready. Every skill we learn increases our strength and ensures our survival." Hanno's engineers tested devices that could detect approaching ships, monitor energy signatures, and disrupt alien communications. These inventions were simple, effective, and adaptable. They had learned to improvise with limited resources, turning ordinary tools into advanced technology. "Adaptation is our greatest weapon," Hanul said. "The Council cannot predict what humans will do next because we think differently. We survive, we learn, and we improve every day." In cities, civilians unknowingly contributed to humanity's growing strength. Farmers experimented with new irrigation methods, workers solved problems with machines, and students participated in projects that strengthened critical thinking and teamwork. Every human action, no matter how small, built resilience. Humans were unknowingly creating a world ready to withstand any external threat, even in the oceans. Teams tested extreme conditions. Submersibles explored deep-sea vents. Researchers endured high-pressure environments. And engineers designed tools that could function under extreme stress. They communicated silently, coordinated precisely, and adapted to every challenge. Each exercise improved their survival skills and increased their confidence. The Council became more divided each day. Some feared that humans were already preparing for a response. Others worried that humans' ingenuity and teamwork made them impossible to control. Haben warned that any rash decision could backfire. "If you strike now," she said, "humans will respond with strategies we cannot predict. They survive harsh environments, adapt quickly, and use everything around them to their advantage. Any attack could become catastrophic." Young-ho considered these warnings seriously. Humans had learned from every challenge on their planet. They had survived natural disasters, wars, pandemics, and environmental extremes. Each challenge had strengthened them physically, mentally, and socially. Now, with the Council's attention on them, humans were improving faster than any species had ever before. On Earth, G1 called a meeting of human leaders. "The Council fears us," he said calmly. "They do not understand what it means to live on a Deathworld. They do not know how much we have adapted, how much we have learned, or how prepared we are. They think fear will control us, but it will not. Our preparation is our answer. Our resilience is our strength." Minseok added, "Every storm, every flood, every mountain climb, every desert trek teaches us. We do not fear the unknown. We adapt to it. And every time we adapt, we grow stronger. The Council's panic shows that they finally understand our world is not weak, is powerful. And we are the product of that power." Hanel smiled at her team. "They do not see the full potential of humans. They only see what they can measure, what they can predict. But humans cannot be predicted. We are resourceful, inventive, and relentless. We learn from every failure, and we turn every disadvantage into advantage. That is why they fear us." Even ordinary citizens contributed unknowingly. Engineers repaired power grids under extreme conditions. Farmers developed new techniques to grow food during droughts. And children practiced problem-solving games that enhanced critical thinking. Every action, no matter how small, strengthened humanity's resilience. The Council continued to argue, growing more anxious with each report. Haben presented more data. Each slide showing humans surviving conditions designed to challenge even the most advanced alien species. Council members whispered nervously, realizing that containment or control might be impossible. "We cannot risk underestimating them again," said one representative. "If they are provoked, the consequences could be unimaginable." On Earth, humans were aware of the Council's attention, but did not fully understand the panic. They focused on survival, adaptation, and preparation. Every team, from deserts to oceans, from mountains to cities, trained tirelessly. Every lesson learned in one environment could be applied to another. Every success strengthened humanity's collective skills and confidence. Gi-wan addressed the human leaders one evening. "The Council has seen our strength," he said. "They fear what they do not understand. Our world has made us strong. Our environment has trained us to survive. We adapt faster than anyone expects. And when the time comes, they will realize that humanity is not weak. They will realize that humans are a force to be reckoned with." Minseok nodded. "We do not need to attack first. We only need to prepare, to adapt, and to survive. Every challenge we face strengthens us. Every exercise teaches us. And every observation from the Council only proves that they finally understand what humans are capable of." The weeks passed. Humans continued to thrive, adapt, and innovate. Every mountain climbed, every river crossed, every storm weathered. And every city problem solved contributed to their growing strength. The Council watched, increasingly worried, as humans demonstrated resilience, ingenuity, and teamwork in every environment. The realization was clear: humans could not be controlled, underestimated, or ignored. They were a species shaped by adversity, trained by hardship, and strengthened by challenges. The Council had panicked at the Deathworld rating, and now they were beginning to see why. Humanity's resilience, adaptability, and intelligence were unparalleled. Guan looked over the city one evening. Lights twinkled across the skyline, and people moved quietly through their routines, unaware of the Council's fear. "They have begun to understand," he said softly. "But they still do not know the full extent of our abilities. We survive, we adapt, and we prepare. One day they will realize that humans are not just survivors, they are unstoppable." And so, across deserts, mountains, forests, oceans, and cities, humanity continued to adapt and thrive. Every obstacle, every challenge, and every lesson made them stronger. The Council's panic spread, and fear grew in their hearts. They had underestimated humans. Now they were realizing that mistake could be dangerous. Humans had not yet fought a battle. They had only survived and adapted. Yet the galaxy had already begun to notice. The first cracks in the Council's confidence were showing. And as the leaders of Earth observed the galaxy's reaction, they knew that the moment of humanity's true emergence was approaching. The Council's panic was only the beginning. Humanity's rise had already begun. The Council had debated endlessly, and fear had taken root. They had underestimated humanity, and now the reality of Earth's Deathworld rating haunted them. Some members argued that humans were too dangerous to leave unchecked. Others hesitated, unsure whether diplomacy could succeed. But finally, a decision was made. A message would be sent to Earth. It was an ultimatum, demanding submission to the Council's authority. Humans were to accept control, to follow galactic laws, or face destruction. On Earth, G1 received the message. He read it carefully, noting the tone and intent. The Council assumed humans would fear them. They assumed threats would bend humanity to their will. Gi-wan shook his head slowly. "They do not understand us," he said quietly. "They think fear will make us submissive. They are wrong. Humanity does not bow to threats. Humanity fights to survive." Minseok gathered the leaders in a secure facility. Maps, holographic projections, and strategy boards covered the walls. Daehaeon, Hanul, Seojin, and Taewoo were present, along with other key strategists. The atmosphere was tense but calm. "The Council has issued an ultimatum," Minseok said. "They expect us to submit. They expect us to comply. They do not realize that humanity will not bow. We have survived worse than any alien threat. We will respond." Hanul spoke, her voice firm. "We do not need to attack immediately. We survive. We prepare. But we do not back down. Every resource, every skill, every environment we control will be used if they provoke us. They believe we are fragile. They will soon learn otherwise." The Council's message arrived with threats, but also an assumption. Humans would hesitate. They had miscalculated. Humanity had already learned from thousands of years of survival on a hostile planet. Humans thrived in extremes of heat, cold, storms, and scarcity. Humans adapted to floods, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and disease. Every difficulty had been a lesson, every challenge a training ground. Now, humans were ready. Mincioke reviewed the reports from teams across the globe. In the deserts, humans had built shelters that could withstand sandstorms and heat waves. In the mountains, teams moved silently through blizzards, constructing supply caches and learning to survive for weeks with minimal food. In forests, humans practiced ambush tactics, navigation, and silent communication. In oceans, submersibles explored deep-sea vents, and teams endured crushing pressures. In cities, engineers and civilians adapted to crises, repairing infrastructure under stress, solving problems in real time. Giwan addressed the Council's threat directly. He composed a response that was calm, measured, but unmistakable. Humanity would not submit. Humanity would not be intimidated. Humanity would fight if necessary. The message was sent. It was a declaration. The Council had assumed that fear would control humans, but they had underestimated the power of resilience and unity. The Council's reaction was immediate. Panic spread as they realized that humans did not fear them. Fear of humans had begun to replace confidence. Some argued for negotiation, hoping to avoid conflict. Others pushed for preemptive strikes, fearful that humanity could become too powerful if left unchecked. Alien fleets were mobilized quietly, and strategies were prepared. But humans had already anticipated the possibility of conflict. They had been preparing for this moment for years. Mincioke convened a meeting of global leaders and strategists. "The Council expects fear," he said. "We will show them strength. We will not attack unless provoked, but we will not hesitate to defend ourselves. Every team, every skill, every resource will be used. We are ready." Hanno presented innovations that had been developed in extreme conditions. Drones capable of rapid reconnaissance, portable shelters that could survive earthquakes and storms, adaptive energy weapons that could function under unusual atmospheres, and advanced communication networks that were difficult to intercept. Humans had learned to turn every challenge into advantage, every disadvantage into opportunity. Taewoo led teams in simulated battle scenarios. They practiced coordinated strikes, environmental tactics, and guerrilla maneuvers. Every action was designed to exploit human strengths, adaptability, creativity, and teamwork. Teams moved quickly and silently, using terrain and weather as allies. "We are trained by our planet," Taewoo reminded them. "Every storm, every earthquake, every disaster has made us stronger. Every challenge we face gives us an advantage over any opponent." Seojin supervised urban strategies. Civilians were included in simulations without being fully aware. Engineers tested emergency systems, communication networks, and supply chains under stress. Everyone contributed to humanity's readiness. Every skill, every invention, every act of problem-solving was part of a larger strategy. Humans were building resilience in ways that the Council could not measure or predict. Rena monitored alien movements and communications. Signals indicated that the Council was nervous, that fleets were being repositioned, and that strategies were being debated. "They assume we will fear them," she said quietly. "They do not realize that fear has no place here. Humans adapt, survive, and learn. They cannot predict us. They cannot control us." The first skirmishes began in the outer edges of human-controlled space. Alien scouts, attempting to intimidate, were met with unexpected resistance. Human forces adapted quickly, using environmental knowledge to their advantage. In deserts, sandstorms were used to hide movements. In mountains, avalanches were triggered to block enemy paths. In forests, humans moved silently, striking from hidden positions. Every tactic was born from years of survival training, from understanding their world better than anyone else. On the oceans, humans used currents, storms, and natural formations to ambush alien ships. Technology was combined with instinct. Portable sensors detected movements, and improvised devices disrupted enemy communications. Even alien drones found it difficult to predict human tactics. The Council's assumption of human passivity had been fatal. The council convened emergency meetings. Panic spread as reports of human adaptability and unexpected resistance reached them. Humans were proving that their Deathworld rating was not just a number, it was a measure of survival mastery. "We misjudged them," Haben said in a report. "They are stronger than we ever anticipated. Every environmental challenge has made them more capable. Every adaptation increases their potential. If we attack now, we risk catastrophic losses." On Earth, Geo 1 addressed humanity. "The Council assumed we would fear them," he said. "They assumed threats would make us submit. They were wrong. We are humans. We survive. We adapt. We fight if necessary. We will not bow. We will not break. We will endure, and we will prevail." Minseok prepared global teams for coordinated operations. Each unit had specialized tasks: reconnaissance, defense, sabotage, and resource management. They practiced in every environment: urban, forested, desert, mountainous, and oceanic. Every exercise honed their skills and strengthened coordination. Humans were learning faster than the Council could calculate, Hanyul demonstrated. Adaptive weapons that combined simple materials with advanced technology. Shields that could deflect energy blasts, communication networks that were difficult to intercept, and drones capable of operating in extreme conditions. Humans turned ingenuity into survival, and survival into power. Taewoo coordinated teams in mountainous regions. They practiced silent movement, camouflage, and strategic strikes. Environmental advantages were used creatively: snow-covered cliffs, avalanches, and hidden paths. Every maneuver emphasized adaptability, teamwork, and unpredictability. In cities, Seojin oversaw simulations that combined civilian participation with military precision. Infrastructure was adapted to serve dual purposes: everyday use and strategic advantage in emergencies. Civilians unknowingly contributed to humanity's overall resilience. Every repair, every adjustment, every small action strengthened the human position. Rena continued monitoring the Council. Alien fleets were mobilized, but they were cautious. Every attempt to intimidate humans was met with unexpected resistance. Humans adapted, improvised, and overcame challenges. The Council's fear grew. They had underestimated a species that had survived disasters, wars, and extreme environments. Now, humans were demonstrating that adaptability was more than survival. It was strategic power. The first formal declaration of war was prepared. Humans did not strike blindly. Every action was calculated, every movement deliberate. Communication was secure, and strategies were coordinated across continents. Humans combined knowledge of their environment, technology, and instinct in ways that alien species could not predict. G1 addressed the leadership. One final time before operations began. "The Council assumed weakness," he said. "They assumed fear. They were wrong. We are humans. We survive anything. We adapt. We fight when necessary. And now, we act not from fear, but from the strength we have built over centuries. The galaxy has seen our resilience. Soon, they will see our power." Minseok nodded. "Every challenge we have faced, every storm, flood, earthquake, every environmental danger has prepared us for this moment. We fight with our strengths: adaptability, ingenuity, and teamwork. The Council has underestimated us for too long. That mistake will be remembered." Hanul's teams were ready. Drones, adaptive devices, and communication networks were deployed strategically. Taewoo's teams were positioned in key terrains, using natural features to gain advantage. Seojin ensured that cities were prepared for any conflict. Rena monitored all alien movements, feeding intelligence to human commanders. Humanity's preparation was complete. As the Council realized that humans would not submit, fear turned to panic. Their fleets and forces were in motion, but humans were already anticipating every move. Every strategy had been countered in advance. Every weakness exploited. Humans demonstrated that survival was not passive, was active, intelligent, and relentless. The first battle began. Alien scouts were met with coordinated human resistance. Deserts, Mountains, forests, oceans, and cities became battlegrounds where humans used every advantage their environment offered. Technology, instinct, and adaptability combined to outmaneuver and overcome the Council's forces. Humans were unpredictable. That unpredictability was their greatest strength. By the end of the first skirmishes, the Council was shaken. They had expected compliance, weakness, and fear. Instead, they found humanity united, adaptive, and formidable. Every challenge had prepared humans for this moment. Every disaster on their world had trained them for the impossible. The Deathworld rating had not just measured survival, it had predicted humanity's power. G1 looked at the maps, the reports, and the communications. Humans had declared war, not out of anger, but out of necessity. They would not bow. They would not be controlled. They would fight with intelligence, adaptability, and resilience. Humanity had become the force the galaxy had feared all along. The first battles had begun, and the galaxy watched in shock. The Council had expected humans to panic, to crumble under pressure, but they were wrong. Humanity fought with precision, intelligence, and adaptability. Every soldier, engineer, uncivilian contributed to the effort in ways that the aliens could not predict. Minseok stood on a high ridge, overlooking a desert battlefield. The heat was unbearable, and dust storms made visibility nearly zero. He adjusted his helmet and scanned the horizon. Alien scouts moved cautiously, unsure of what humans might do next. He signaled to his team, and humans moved with silent efficiency, using terrain, sandstorms, and heat as shields. Every maneuver was calculated, every movement precise. "Remember," Minseok said quietly, "they do not know us. They cannot predict us. Use that advantage, Hanul." Coordinated drones from a mobile command unit. The devices flew low, observing enemy movements, disrupting sensors, and relaying information to ground teams. Humans had learned to combine technology with instinct. They did not rely solely on weapons or armor. They relied on thinking, adapting, and using the environment. "Every storm, every obstacle, every challenge helps us," Hanul said. "We turn difficulties into advantages." In the mountains, Taewoo's teams used avalanches and hidden paths to ambush alien squads. Snow and ice made travel difficult for everyone, but humans moved with skill and confidence. They had trained for years in these conditions. Every step was a lesson, every climb a practice in survival. The aliens struggled to keep up, misjudging the humans' ability to adapt. Seo Jin oversaw urban operations. In cities, humans used buildings, tunnels, and rooftops to gain advantage. Civilians were instructed to move safely, evacuating areas where fighting might occur while still assisting in logistics and communication. Engineers rerouted power, secured communication lines, and created decoys to mislead the Council's forces. The aliens had expected simple resistance. Instead, they faced coordinated, intelligent tactics that seemed to anticipate every move. Rena monitored alien communications. "They are panicking," she said to G1. "Every action we take confuses them. They expected fear, but they have encountered intelligence, coordination, and unpredictability. Humanity is stronger than they thought." G1 nodded. "This is only the beginning. They assumed we would be passive. They assumed fear would control us. They were wrong. Every day, humans become stronger, smarter, and more adaptable. That is why we will win." Across the oceans, humans used the currents, waves, and storms to their advantage. Submersibles and small vessels moved silently, striking alien ships unexpectedly, then disappearing. Sensors monitored alien positions, and human teams adapted tactics in real time. The aliens had expected straightforward attacks. Instead, they encountered unpredictable and intelligent strategies that left them frustrated. In forests, humans moved silently through dense foliage. Traps, ambushes, and carefully coordinated attacks made it difficult for alien forces to advance. Every team knew their environment intimately. They had trained for years in extreme conditions, and now those skills gave them the upper hand. "They think our world is fragile," Minseok said over the comms. They do not realize that it has trained us to survive, to fight, and to adapt. Use that knowledge. The council grew desperate. Fleet commanders debated strategies, but fear clouded judgment. Every attempt to attack humans met with resistance, confusion, and unexpected counteractions. Alien leaders realized that humans were not merely fighting, they were learning. Every movement, every tactic, every response improved their knowledge and strengthened. Humanity's position: Hanol directed engineers to deploy adaptive devices. These machines could detect energy signatures, disrupt communications, and manipulate environmental conditions. They were simple but effective, crafted from materials that humans could easily find or improvise. Every device, every adaptation, turned the environment into an advantage. Humans had learned that survival meant using everything at their disposal intelligently in the deserts. Minseok's teams used heat, sand, and wind to cover movements. They hid in dunes, moved silently, and struck when the enemy least expected. Alien squads struggled to track their position, relying on sensors that humans had learned to evade or confuse. Every maneuver demonstrated intelligence, adaptability, and strategic thinking. Humans were unpredictable. That unpredictability gave them the upper hand. Tae-Woo's mountain teams continued to use natural obstacles to their advantage. They had trained to navigate cliffs, hidden passes, and ice fields. Avalanches blocked alien paths, and snow-covered traps slowed enemy advances. Humans were patient, moving only when it was safe and effective. Their coordination and teamwork were unmatched in urban areas. Seojin directed civilians to assist without entering direct combat. They repaired infrastructure, relayed communications, and created diversions. Engineers set up sensors and devices that misled alien forces, creating false signals and confusing enemy tactics. Civilians contributed silently their every actions supporting the larger effort. RI-Na continued intelligence gathering. She intercepted messages, analyzed patterns, and predicted alien movements. Her work allowed human teams to anticipate attacks and counter effectively. Humans had learned that information was as important as weapons. Every fact gathered, every signal interpreted, increased their advantage. On the oceans, small human vessels coordinated attacks on alien ships. They used storms, waves, and currents to mask movements. Submersibles appeared unexpectedly, striking before disappearing beneath the waves. Technology and instinct worked together, making humans difficult to predict. Alien fleets struggled to respond to tactics that combined intelligence, adaptation, and environmental knowledge. G-1 observed from a central command station. Every report reinforced what he already knew. Humans had adapted to survive. They had trained for extremes, endured hardship, and learned to use every advantage. Now, those skills gave them power over the alien fleets. "We survive because we are humans," he said quietly. "We adapt, we endure, and we fight when necessary. That is our strength." Minseok moved between teams, coordinating maneuvers and ensuring communication. Every unit operated with intelligence and independence. Teams adapted to conditions, used terrain strategically, and supported each other across distances. Human coordination was precise, efficient, and flexible. Alien forces could not anticipate every move. Every unexpected strategy added to humanity's advantage. Hanol monitored technology deployments. Sensors detected alien positions, drones disrupted enemy communications, and adaptive devices controlled environmental factors. Humans had learned to improvise, to turn simple tools into advanced tactics. They had mastered survival, and now survival became strategy. Tae-Woo's team struck at isolated enemy units. They used terrain to their advantage, attacking from unexpected directions, then disappearing before counterattacks could arrive. Each strike was calculated, each movement deliberate. Humans had learned that patience, observation, and adaptation were more effective than brute force. In cities, Seojin directed coordinated strikes that combined intelligence and improvisation. Civilians moved safely while assisting in operations, providing supplies, information, and logistical support. Engineers deployed devices to mislead alien sensors and confuse enemy strategies. Human ingenuity turned ordinary environments into strategic advantages. RI-Na analyzed alien reactions. "They are panicking," she said. "Every move we make confuses them. Every response they see strengthens our position. Humanity is unpredictable, and that unpredictability is our greatest weapon." The Council realized their mistake. Humans had not only survived every environmental challenge they had learned from them. Humans had adapted to extreme conditions, mastered teamwork, and developed intelligence that no alien species had predicted. Fear replaced confidence, and uncertainty spread throughout Council ranks. On Earth, Gi-1 addressed human leaders. They assumed fear would control us. They assumed threats would bend us. They were wrong. Humanity fights with intelligence, adaptability, and unity. We do not act recklessly. We act strategically. Every lesson learned on this planet gives us advantage. We survive, we adapt, and we prevail. Minseok added, "Every mountain, every river, every desert, every storm, every city challenge has prepared us for this. We are strong because we have endured hardship. We are intelligent because we have learned to adapt. We are united because we depend on each other." The Council underestimated humanity, and that mistake will cost them dearly. Hanul smiled as drones reported success. "They do not see the full potential of humans," she said. "They only see what they expect. But humans are more than survival. We adapt, we learn, and we innovate. We use everything around us as an advantage. That is why we cannot be controlled, and that is why we will win." Taewoo's teams continued operations in mountains. Ambushes, traps, and strategic maneuvers slowed enemy advances. Humans had learned that knowledge of the environment, patience, and coordination were more effective than sheer force. Every obstacle was an opportunity, every danger a lesson. In the deserts, Minseok's teams advanced silently. Alien scouts struggled to detect them. Humans used dunes, wind, and heat as shields. Every movement was precise. Every action increased the enemy's confusion and frustration. Humanity had turned survival into strategy. SEO Jin coordinated urban operations. Civilians assisted quietly, maintaining infrastructure, relaying communications, and misdirecting alien forces. Engineers deployed devices that misled sensors, created false signals, and protected key areas. The city became both a shield and a weapon. Rena continued intelligence work. Every intercepted signal, every prediction, every analysis allowed humans to anticipate attacks and respond effectively. Humans had mastered information as a weapon, just as they had mastered survival. On the oceans, human submersibles continued strategic strikes. Currents, storms, and waves were used to hide movements. Attacks were precise, unexpected, and effective. Alien fleets struggled to adapt to tactics they could not predict. Humans had turned knowledge, environment, and instinct into weapons. The Council began to understand the truth. Humans were not just survivors, they were strategists, innovators, and fighters shaped by a world designed to challenge them. Every natural disaster, every environmental hazard, every challenge had trained humanity for this moment. Alien fleets and delegates realized that the Deathworld rating was not a measure of weakness, it was a warning. Humans were not to be underestimated. G1 observed the battlefield reports. "The Council assumed fear would control us," he said. "They were wrong. We survive. We adapt. We fight when necessary. And in every action, we turn challenges into advantage. The galaxy is learning a lesson. Humanity is not fragile. Humanity is unstoppable." The first major engagements ended. Human forces had survived, adapted, and succeeded. Alien fleets were disrupted, confused, and demoralized. The Council had expected submission, but they had found resilience, strategy, and unpredictability. Humanity had declared war, and now the galaxy had learned what it meant to underestimate Earth.